Hello, everyone. Welcome to the FutureDDS Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Every school offers you a unique and will provide a very different experience. So who better to explain that experience than a student who actually goes there? Our goal is to give you a firsthand perspective of every dental school program across America and ultimately help you make the right decision on which school is going to be best for you. Today, we'll be showcasing Mr. Brandon Sadbury, who is a third-year student at Augusta University College or Dental College of Georgia, what they call DCG. How you doing today, Brandon?
Hey, pretty good to you, man. Look, just maintaining, cooling it.
There we go. So, man, well, first I'd like to say, man, thanks for joining us. Take some time out of your schedule, your busy schedule, to give us a little perspective on DCG, man. So, if you could just tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you from, originally where you went to undergrad, if you did a master's, where you did that, as well as a little bit of why you chose dentistry as your career path.
Okay. All right. So real quick, I'm a non-traditional. So I don't know what that means for a lot of people, but I'm not your traditional 20-something-year-old applicant. I'm 33. So at the time I went into dental school, I was 32. Yeah, 32. So born and raised, born in Atlanta, Georgia, grew up in Miami, Florida. Moved to Georgia in 2003, spent a lot of my years here in Georgia, with high school, graduated from Georgia State in 2008, decided to become an English teacher and thought that I was done with school. So pretty much what happened is I ended up going to one of our career days that our school hosted, and we had a dentist come in. So the dentist was talking a lot about her career, and she gave a lot of insight as to how that works, and none of my kids were interested, but I was the only one that was interested. So she even offered and said, look, if you guys would like to work and learn how to be an assistant or just file papers, I'm willing to hire y'all. Just make a cover letter and resume, and we'll get you vetted in. Of course, none of them wanted to work there. They was like, I want to work at Foot Locker. Like, come on, y'all, really? So ended up so I thought to myself, I said, well, I have a credit card I got to pay off. So I reached out to her and I was like, look, if everything's okay with this, like, I don't mind taking the job that you're offering. So took the job and worked at the front desk, learned a lot of things about dentistry. I saw a lot of parallels between it and teaching, and I fell in love with it. So I decided to pursue it, and this was in 2012, so it's 2019, and here I am, third year at dental school. So,
man, there we go. Man, that's a story. You know what I mean? Everybody got their own journey, and you definitely made the most of every opportunity right there.
Yeah, look, hustling.
Hey, there we go. So, if you could just tell us a little bit more about DCG, exactly where it's located, in Georgia. How is that city for you? Obviously, you spend a lot of time in the South, so it may not be a big shift for you, but how is that city for you? And then a little bit about like the class demographics, how big it is for the incoming class.
Okay, all right. So as y'all know, we're the only dental school in Georgia, and we're about 2 hours from Atlanta, maybe 4 hours from Charleston, 4 hours from Charlotte. So, we're kind of smack dab in the middle of things. We got 96 people in our class. They used to have a class size of 80, but they've been trying to increase that over the years. Our dental school's building is fairly new. It was built in 2011. So a lot of our facilities are pretty new. So we got a really nice school. What else do we need to know? What else did you ask me? I'm sorry.
Just exactly what city is it in? Because you said it's in the middle.
My bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Augusta.
Okay, cool. So you said that city is about two hours outside of Atlanta, and a little bit. So what's that, like Central Georgia, I guess?
Nah, it's East Georgia. So if you can think of like how South Carolina borders Georgia, it's kind of like right on the edge.
Got you.
Our school is literally like across the street from South Carolina, pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when you decided to go to dental school and you actually applying to schools, what were some of the factors that went into you making your decision of where you wanted to apply and then ultimately go to school?
Okay. So for me, deep down inside, like, I knew that cost was going to be a big concern. So, it's no secret that tuition has been rising. The cost be a dentist is rising.
Yeah.
Dental care is rising. Reimbursements aren't changing for insurance. So, immediately I thought to myself, I want to be a business owner. So I want to set myself up for the best path possible and go to the cheapest school. So that was my big factor for me. Secondly, being close to my family and friends was a big deal breaker for me. I interviewed at a lot of schools along the Northeast, and then one was out West. And it just felt right for me to be in the South. The weather is perfect here. I don't like snow. I don't like cold. So yeah, Georgia is really where it's at for me.
Got you. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Hey,
because up here in Boston, the weather can definitely get to you.
yeah, I got family from Boston, so all of my dad's side is from Boston. So I know about that weather. I know about that. So that thing piles like yay high.
Yeah. We had a few of them days. So
I ain't with it.
So if I guess if you could remember back, stay in this mode of, applying to schools, actually, going through interviews and everything. If you can remember back to how the interview process actually was for you when you went to DCG, you said you felt like it felt right for you. So if you could, walk us through the day, just actually showing up on campus and walk us through how like the schedule is set up.
Yeah. Okay. So the interview day was actually one of my most easygoing interviews out of all the interviews I had. Surprisingly, I thought it was going to be the hardest, but it was actually really laid back. I would say overall, they try to get to know you as a person. They don't really ask you a lot about what you know about dentistry. I mean, dentistry is all about being people oriented. So they want to know about your hobbies. They want to know about, your interests. They want to know, what were your struggles? How did you overcome them? This, that, and the third. But getting to the school, coming in, you're welcomed by a lot of people, a lot of the students. They give you a packet that kind of has the map of the school and the rooms that you interview at. So you're pretty much roaming about the school on your own throughout the day, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's not like you're waiting, outside in a lobby and, you're going in to get grilled by some faculty member. It's really conversational. So there were two people that did the interviews. So I think each interview lasted 30 minutes. And two questions I know for sure that each person asked was why dentistry and why DCG. So I think as long as you come in with that type of mode or kind of mindset, I think you'll be well prepared for it.
Got you. So once you actually, you finish your interview, you got that acceptance, getting into school. I'm sure you were happy just like everybody is when they finally get that big acceptance. Once you actually got into school, how was the transition heading into your first year? How were those like initial few weeks or a few months, and how did they help you kind of get settled in, like orientation wise and everything?
Okay, so I guess I'll start with from the moment I got accepted up until like the first day. So the moment I got accepted, I felt kind of weird because I was like, wow, like this is really happening. I can't believe I just got accepted in a dental school. I don't think it matters how old you are or how, brave you are, or how smart you are. I think everybody's going to come into the situation with a little bit of doubt or hesitation, and you're going to be anxious and nervous. So at that point in time, I didn't really know how to like interpret my feelings. So, I tried to like read up on Student Doctor Network as much as I could. That was a big mistake. I ain't doing that no more.
Y'all hear that? That's a mistake. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't gas yourself up with a lot of the hype because you really have to go through it in order to know about it, if that makes sense. You don't really need to read about it. Just go through it. But yeah, anywho, I just took that time to really, start like laying out a budget. I knew that from, working full time and going into being a full-time student, that was going to be a big adjustment on my end. So, money was a big factor. I tried to read as much books as I could on just like, learning the ins and outs of practicing dentistry. I tried to, listen to podcasts and just chill out with friends and, spend a lot of that time with family. That was the big thing for me was getting a lot of that time with my family. And then just kind of mentally prepare myself to come into dental school and just tackle things head on and not be anxious about it. That was the biggest thing that I kind of worried about. Oh, and then finding a place to live, that's a whole nother thing. So, everybody's trying to scramble around, trying to find places to live. So I would try to go from Atlanta to Augusta, probably twice a month, just, trying to scout places out and trying to look to see, what commutes were going to be like, and, how much places were going to be, and if I wanted a roommate, and if I didn't want a roommate, how that was going to work out financially. So yeah, just lots of things to just play out. That's what I spent a lot of my time doing from that December up until August when we started.
Okay, cool. And like when you guys first started, do you guys jump straight into classes? Do you guys have like a few orientation days? Like how is
Yeah. So yeah, we started out with orientation. I think it lasted about 3 days. So that was the period where everybody had the bow ties and
yeah,
looking too cool for school, fresh, and then after that, goes down.
then the grind hits you.
Then the grind hits you, and it gets real. So, but yeah, 3 days, and then it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we had a social. So all of our class kind of got together, had a party. It was kind of like a meet and greet. That was pretty wild. And then Monday we hit the books.
So. Okay, cool. So, actually after you finish up with your orientation and you finally get into the coursework, I guess what is a typical day or maybe like a week look like for a first year student, going through like a week of classes? Is it pure classwork? Is it sprinkling some lab work early? Like take me through, I guess, what the curriculum kind of looks like for a first year student.
Okay, so just a disclaimer. So we're on the old curriculum.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys out there know that they are trying to phase out parts 1 and 2 of the board. So our school has totally switched it up for all the incoming freshmen. So I can say for them, like all of the basic sciences are based on systems.
Okay.
So you're not taking classes like biochemistry, microbiology. You're not taking physiology, head and neck anatomy. They're dividing it all into systems like renal, pulmonary, integument, and so forth. Okay. So you're starting out your first year in your basic sciences. You're usually in those classes from anywhere from 1 hour to 4 hours at a time. And you've got your lab classes. So your first lab class is waxing. I'm sure you know about that.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one, So, you're learning all about your dental anatomy. You're learning about how the tooth is shaped and how it erupts out of the gums. And you're learning how to carve a tooth out of wax. It's a lot going on. And then you get into operative. So they introduce you to the handpiece very early here. So you're learning how to do class 1, class 2 preps. The good thing about that class that I like is that it continues from fall into spring. So you're in a whole year of operative. And in the fall, you start out, I believe it's once a week with the class. And then in the spring, it increases from once a week to twice a week.
Okay.
So that's how that works.
Cool. So, you spoke a little bit about like getting into the hand skills and everything. How do you guys get transitioned into the clinic? Just like actually starting to work with patients. Do you guys get eased into that freshman year or first year, having to do assists and little things like that, and then start doing like clinical things on each other second year? Like how is that progression going from the classroom into the clinic?
Okay, cool. So that's the exciting part. I'm gonna just add that in there. So your first year, you're not really doing anything in clinic. I think for the new incoming freshmen, they have an opportunity to do exams on each other. Okay. So I thought that's pretty cool. So they're, I guess looking for caries or looking for cavities, as we call them, and taking blood pressure. It's just the little things that that matter, because it's one thing to work on each other, but then it's a whole nother to work on a whole different person that comes outside of school. Your blood pressure just rises. You don't want to mess it up. Yeah. But they ease you into it here. So first year is all about just thinking about like how to be a doctor, how to sit in the chair, how to set up an operatory. Second year, we have what's called sophomore block. So that's pretty much where you get eased into doing cleanings and exams, like recall exams for your patients. And then into that spring semester, you're still doing the same thing with your patients, but then now you get a chance to do your first filling. So you get to do what's called stab lab, and you get to do injections on each other, which is pretty fun or whatever. And then you take what you know and then you roll it into, your spring of D2 year. You get the opportunity to treatment plan your patients and look for new cavities. And if you want to do that work in your D3 year, then you can do that. You can keep that patient in your population and just work them up.
Okay, cool. That's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
So then I guess what D3 year is pretty much majority clinic and a few classes here and there, or is it just solely clinic after third year?
Okay, so good question. So it's not entirely clinic. So we have a couple of didactics, not basic sciences. So we're in clinic from 8 to 5 on like Monday, and this is D3 year, starting D3 year.
Yep.
So we're in 8 to 5 on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's 1 to 5, and then Friday it's from 8 to 12.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I think it increases a little bit in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. So I guess for anyone who knows anything about dental school, I mean obviously we know because we've been going through a few years, but everybody hears about how hard and how hectic dental school can be, how stressful it can be. I guess how do you manage your work-life balance, and then I guess does the school, how does faculty, help you out with the work-life balance? If there's, somebody you can go talk to, a student dean or advisor or anything, like, I guess how is it managing the stress level there?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's another good question because a lot of people, don't think about that. But I'm gonna just give this disclaimer real quick. So, as future dentists, y'all are coming in as mini perfectionists, I mean, that's just the dentist bug that you carry. So a lot of people don't really speak up or speak out about just being stressed out because they don't want to admit failure. So before you guys get to dental school, please, it doesn't have to be anybody in dental school. Make sure you have an outlet to talk to because things do get real. But as far as resources are concerned, the school does have counseling centers that you can go to. You can set up an appointment with the counselor and you can, talk your issues out with them. But for the most part, most of our class is very supportive of each other. Everybody's just going through the same thing. Everybody's venting, and everybody gets it. So, everyone is trying to help each other out where they'd be like, look, man, I got an acrylic burr right here. I saw you over there struggling with that lab knife. I got you, man. You ain't got to do that. So, we try to do things like that. I would also say, in addition to that, faculty are very understanding. The help is out there. So all you have to do is ask. And, I'd even say go and ask a faculty member that you're very comfortable with asking, because that does matter as well. Yep. So words from the wise, get comfortable with certain faculty members that you have a really good rapport with and stick with them to the very end because a lot of them are really committed to your success. So.
All right, cool. So,
yeah.
And I guess, I guess on a more personal note, do you have any like tips to help anybody out there that might be struggling with the stress? What do you like to do to kind of relieve the stress after a test block or something like that? Hit the gym,
Look, man, I'm trying to hit the gym. I gotta lose this baby fat, man. I'm working on it. But yeah, we hit the gym. A lot of times we'll go out. I love to go out and eat. So a lot of my classmates, we go out and eat and, hit up some adult beverages and whatnot.
Yeah. Go take days off for real, really.
Yeah, take 2 to 3 days off. My whole philosophy is I don't do anything on Fridays. So once I get in the house on Fridays, anything's fair game. If y'all want to go out, that's fine. If not, it's cool too. I can stay in the house. But yeah, I mean, I try to hit up the gym. I try to do a lot of things alone so I can regroup. And that's another thing in dental school. Just kind of know yourself. I'm introverted, so I don't really thrive off of being around a whole bunch of people at one time. Like being around patients all day, it drains you. So you kind of got to regroup. Yeah. So, just find what works for you and stick to it. I go back down to Atlanta sometimes just to get away from Augusta. I hate seeing the logo on the building sometimes because it gets to that point. Yeah. So you got to get away. And, the thing about dental school that I've learned is, they're never going to give you time to take off officially. Like you just got to just take it. You got to take it whenever you can. You just got to, live in the moment. And on that note, just be mindful that, you have to take it one day at a time. Because if you try thinking about next week, you'll blow your head off,
That's true.
literally.
Got
So
you. Got you. So I guess, we can go into a little bit more about, people that are looking at the schools now and,
okay.
say for instance, I'm a pre-den, looking at DCG, thinking about applying there. What are some things that I should focus on as an undergrad or just a prospective student that, put me in the best position to not only get in, but also succeed once I actually do get in?
Yeah, I say the first thing is to build a network and network with the admissions team, the admissions faculty here. If you don't put yourself out there, then how will they know that you're applying?
Right.
One of the things that I value is your network being your net worth. And, Miss Perry is our director of admissions here. She's a very, very awesome person. She's well known across the state and across the country. And she's a very good connect to have. Get involved. So, visit schools. Be at the schools for, different things. It doesn't matter if it's an oral cancer walk from an organization. Just be there. Social media is a very powerful thing. So, it's nothing to get on there and friend like SNDA and DM them and ask them, hey, do y'all have some events coming up? And, network in that way. So that's kind of how I did it for myself. Second thing is be very honest about things that you've done and how they've gone well and not gone well for you. So in other words, reach out to faculty and say, hey, this is what I've got. I would like to improve it. What do you recommend as far as going about that? And they will let you know. We've got a lot of people here that have applied twice, 3 times, and they're not afraid to admit it. So, be open to that feedback.
That's key. That's key. So last few questions here. We're going to start wrapping it up. But, so, having spent a few years at DCG already, I guess what are some things that you have taken away from being there that you feel like are very unique to your experience, or like that you feel like have been advantages, or you feel like are positive things to your experience so far? It could be some things that you mentioned already, it being in its location, whatever it may be, or something that we haven't mentioned yet. But, what are some things that you feel like might be advantages to going to school at DCG?
Yeah. So, like I said before, cost is a really big thing that I looked at. Augusta has a very, very low cost of living. So if you're looking to, maximize on your learning and not be in an environment that's really, really high stakes and hustle and bustle, this might be a place to be for you. The second thing is that our school prides itself on its clinical excellence, and they get you in the clinic very, very early. So, and I'm sure that a lot of schools offer the same thing, but if you're looking to come to the school, that's something that you will get here. Thirdly, a lot of what we do is pros heavy. So we have a lot of patients that come in, with different and complex medical history. So you definitely will get a lot of experience learning how to manage that. And lastly, faculty are never, ever going to, make you give a hard case away as long as you're willing to take it on. So that's a really good thing that I thought was valuable in my experience so far.
Yeah, that's one thing, a lot of people don't necessarily think about, especially going into school. You're not even probably thinking about patients yet.
Yeah, but it's true. And another thing in regards to that is, patient population. So, a lot of people don't think about requirements. Some schools are all about experiences, but then other schools are all about, a certain number that you have to meet. You might have to cut 16 crowns before you graduate, or you might have to cut, a crown without faculty assistance. So that's something you definitely want to be able to look at, and also make sure that the patient pool is there, because it can be a real big pain trying to get patients in the chair and, knowing that you have to graduate.
Right.
I would say that the population here is pretty plentiful because, we're kind of on the border of Georgia, South Carolina. So we get a lot of people coming from all over trying to get here. Yeah.
Cool. So, what's the last question? And this is for somebody who may not necessarily just be looking at DCG, but, just a pre-donor student in general that may be struggling with DAT, struggling through the process, whatever you may have you. What are last few words of advice that you can give to, any of the viewers out there along their journey?
Okay. So get connected with resources at your school. So we had a pre-health committee and they had a lot of resources that they would give out to us in regards to learning how to study for the DAT, test taking tips, and things about improving your GPA. But with all of that, I think you just need to learn how to apply strategically. And what I mean by that is, there's nothing wrong with aiming high and, shooting for Harvard. That's cool. We would all love to go to Harvard, but I don't think that it's worth your money or your time to apply to schools that don't necessarily admit people with the stats that you might or might not carry, if that makes sense. So, go get the guide to dental schools. It's by Idea, right?
Believe so. Believe it is.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a book, and it has stats on every single school. Look up the stats. Make sure that all of your stats will fall within the ranges of the schools that you're looking at, and try to get connected with those schools. So I would say that's going to be worth your money and worth your time. Secondly, making sure that you look at schools that are out of state friendly if you're not looking at staying in state, or if you don't have a state school. So that's another big thing that might work in your favor. Last but not least, I might have mentioned it before, but yeah, go visit these schools, learn as much as you can, network with the students. A lot of people have hashtags out there. Click on them, befriend these people, and get to work. That's all I can really say about that.
Man, there we go, man. Appreciate that, Brandon, again, man, for taking some time out of your schedule to give us that perspective on DCG. If you wouldn't mind, if there's any way the viewers could get in contact with you, social media, maybe email, maybe just get in touch with the, faculty, what would be the best way to, reach out and find out some more information about DCG?
Okay. All right. So I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram. So I can be reached on Twitter at some Brandom, like random, some Brandom Dent. And I'm also on Instagram at some Brandom Dentist. But if you are looking forward to hitting up Miss Perry, who's our director of admissions, her email is slperry@augusta.edu.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool, man. Appreciate that. I'm gonna make sure I put all that information down in the description. So any prospective students can definitely, reach out to you directly if they have questions about, DCG, or maybe just your journey, as being, like you said, non-traditional applicant and dental school student. And just pick your brain a little bit, man. But again, on behalf of FutureDDS and all of our subscribers and viewers, man, I just want to take some time out to say thank you, man, for giving us some great words of advice to all the pre-dentals, and as well as giving us a great perspective on what DCG has to offer, man. Appreciate you.
Look, it's been a pleasure. Look, glad to help.
Man,
y'all stay strong out there.
Yeah, hey, man, we gotta stick to it, man. But best of luck to you heading into clinic full time. And if you guys out there viewing haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so whenever we post some new content. We're going to come to the end of the series now, so make sure you go back and watch all the other videos and get a great perspective on all these schools, so you can make the best decision on what school is going to be best for you to spend your next 4 years. But it's going to be it, man. Thanks again, Brandon. We're going to see you guys next time.
All right. For real.